Hey, how's everybody doing on this Monday? We have skipped the weekend and gone straight to the beginning of the work week to give you another edition of the Sports Rush. I am glad you are here. Thank you for joining us each week. So many of you are loyal audience, and we appreciate every one of you. I am Brett Rump. Adam Lundy, hopefully going to be jumping on with us here real soon. And of course, over the weekend, we had all types of basketball, wall to wall, starting on Thursday with the NCAA tournament. Of course, even before that, you had officially the NCAA tournament getting started on Tuesday with the first four games. The Miami Redhawks got their win in the first four. Things didn't go quite as well for them when they got to the round of 64, which to me is still the official beginning of the NCAA tournament. But for those that get put into the first four, I'm glad when the checks are distributed that they count that as the NCAA tournament because they all get a nice share of the pool. And for those that don't know, leagues, especially the smaller leagues, it's big when they can get an upset or two along the way because that does help fund everybody in the league. It's unfortunate Wright State didn't survive and pull out the win against Virginia. I thought they had a chance. They were right there. But down the stretch, Virginia was just too much for the Wright State Raiders. They got the win. But give me your thoughts on the opening weekend of the NCAA tournament. It is March Madness. We've been following it. We'll talk quite a bit about it today. Also, we've got to talk high school basketball because it's time for the state championships. We had quite a few teams that went into the semi-state, but of course, with the semi-state being an afternoon and nighttime type event where you have to win two games in one day, slowly the field got whittled down, and now we have the New Haven Bulldogs for the first time ever playing in a state championship game. We'll talk about who they're going to take on. Also, we've got news about the Mastodons women. We've got news about the portal. Whatever you want to talk about, you can always leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. Just drop your comment. We'll be able to see it. And don't forget, too, to make sure to subscribe, like the channel. In fact, if you're in our bracket contest, you've got to be a subscriber to the YouTube channel to be able to get a prize. And so I hope that every one of you that is involved in our March Madness bracket gets in and makes the or goes ahead and subscribes to the channel. Anyway, Adam's going to be jumping on with us here in just a couple of minutes. Got to start with the Boilermakers. How about the Purdue Boilermakers? They are into the Sweet 16. Got to clear my throat here. They're into the Sweet 16. They are going to be playing Texas in the next round. Of course, the Boilermakers played on Friday, Sunday the first week. Now they have to come back and play on Thursday. The travel not exactly perfect for them. St. Louis was fairly close. But this weekend, they've got to go to San Jose, California, because they are the number 2 seed in the West. And so they will be going out to San Jose to play Thursday night. And they've got the first game of the next round. So they could be the first team to advance into the Elite 8, or they could be the 16th team in a field of 16 teams remaining. But Purdue gets a couple of nice wins to start things off. And, of course, we're going to talk Boilermakers. We also have to bring in our next guest, Adam Lundy, joining us. Adam doing some springtime cleaning or something. I don't know exactly what was going on. But,
yeah, got a big glare.
Catch up. You had such a busy weekend watching basketball and working in the studio that you're doing some catch up, right?
No, I was trying to get rid of some of this giant glare I had coming in my window. The sun's coming right in my window, right on the side of my face here. So basically, I looked like some sort of angelic figure with the lighting I had. So I had to find something to put in front of the window there. But we're here and ready to talk some sports, my man. Like you said, Purdue looking good, looking good. We said if they played the way they did at the end of the Big Ten tournament, they could do things here in this men's March tournament, and it looks to be that way so far.
Yeah, the Boilermakers got a dominant win over Queens. I don't think we were too surprised by that. Just too physical and too superior to get knocked off by Queens. 104-71, very convincing, dominant win. Braden Smith and Trakoff and Wren were the leaders offensively. They combined to hit 22 of 33 shots, combined for 51 points as the Boilermakers rolled in their opener. That takes a lot of the pressure off. Of course, you see a lot of times these teams, they survive some real scare early in the tournament, then go on to a deep run. So I wouldn't be too concerned about the teams that struggled that you thought would blow out somebody and they were in a tight game in the second half. Don't worry about that if you've got a team advancing in the bracket. That happens every year. But then the Boilermakers came back, took on Miami. They've been one of the hotter teams in the ACC. And, of course, Malik Renew, the old friend from IU, who they knew quite well and didn't have to do a lot of scouting. That's one thing about scouting. And it says my audio went weak and fuzzy.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but it did take a drop in quality there.
Okay, let me.
There you go. You're back.
I'm back?
You're already back. It just must have been a loose cable or something.
That's weird. Technology for you. So I apologize for that. But no, the interesting thing is, Malik Renew because you've got a scout on him. I find it fascinating that to me a scout is really based more on personnel than action. Guys coming off ball screen, everybody does it, right? You got to know what the inbound plays are because you don't want to get burned at the basket for an inbound play that you should have been prepared for. But to me, a scout is entirely about personnel, figuring out who are the top 2 or 3 options that are going to primarily be the guys that can hurt you, and what do they do to get themselves into a position to score, and how can you take that away? Do you need to double team on the baseline side on a low post? Do you need to keep a guy like Trey Kaufman-Wren, for instance? Okay, we can all play the scout game on him because everybody and their brother knows exactly what he's going to do. He wants to get the ball down in the low left block where he can fake to the baseline side, turn and get a shoulder into you with that left side, clear enough space to go over the left shoulder with the right hand, that little jump hook, and he's almost perfected that shot where it's indefensible. So you could scout him and say, here's the shot Trey Kaufman-Wren is looking to get. How do we take it away? Do we front him? Do we try to keep him from getting the ball in that position? Or if he gets the ball, do we double? If you double, you got to double from the high side because if you double baseline, he'll just turn right between the double team and get to his spot. And so to me, where the coaches make their money is in preparing their teams for the 1 or 2 key players and those players' favorite plays to try to take that away. You never want the other team's best player to do whatever he wants throughout a game against you, and you don't want the other team's best player to be the reason you get beat because he's the best player going in. You've got to try to do something to make things difficult for him. And so, I think in these short scouts where you only have a couple of days to prepare for an opponent you're not that familiar with, knowing personnel, here's their 2 or 3 best players, and here's what they have a habit of trying to do. Do they attack on the dribble? If they attack on the dribble, do they spin in the paint? You've got all kinds of different things that guys can do, but I think being prepared for personnel is more important than being prepared for every offensive action. And so I think knowing Malik Renew like Purdue did gave them a real advantage in the scout because they knew what Malik Renew's tendencies were. They knew what he liked to do to be successful. I don't know about you, Adam, but I thought Renew at one point had that real fit, ripped body. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
He's still a fairly big, strong guy, but it doesn't look like he spends quite as much time in the weight room as he used to.
It's all the chicken tenders, all the chicken baskets. Did you see he went kind of viral on Twitter yesterday for hitting the snack bar in full uniform after their game?
When he went to the concession stand?
Yeah. So he must just be
got caught in the hallway.
Doing too many trips to the concession stands. But no, definitely a little huskier. No question about it.
Now, the question is, it was after the game. Did he also get a beer?
He could if
Let me ask. Would you have had a problem? He's legal drinking age. They got beat. He's done. His season's over. Would
I
you have
think
had a
the
problem if Malik Renew had ordered chicken wings and an ice cold beer?
My only thing is you're still in full Miami uniform from the game.
Yeah.
If you had maybe changed your outfit and you're not completely representing the university anymore, then I probably would have been like, yeah, it's fine. But to have it in the full uniform might be a bad look still.
It'd have been a bigger problem if it was before the game. But
But yeah, if playing a former Purdue player is any sign of the games going well for the Boilermakers this year,
hey,
it's a good thing for this Texas matchup. We're going to see another
well,
former
of course, Renew
Boilermaker.
is not a former Boilermaker. He's a former
No, but I'll
Hoosier.
say
Now
former Indiana players. Yeah,
yeah, player from the state of Indiana because, yeah, you could just say if familiarity is a benefit, you'll
Big
have
Ten.
plenty of familiarity in the next game with Cam Heide.
Oh, I was just gonna say familiarity in the Sweet 16 because it feels like half of it is the Big Ten.
Oh, no, I was talking about personnel. See, I'm
That-
still on personnel. Heide is on Texas's roster. That's where he transferred after deciding he needed greener grass. I'm not exactly sure why he transferred from Purdue. Him and Miles Colvin, both of them were kind of, you're getting your opportunity. You're getting a pretty good chunk of minutes. I don't know what you're looking for, but they'll run into former teammate at Texas when they take on the Longhorns, who are a little bit of a surprise team at this point. I mean, they were in the play-in game. Remember, they had to play their way into the round of 64 and then came back and on short rest won 2 games.
yeah, it's been a good run.
Who'd they beat? Let me look up here real quick. They beat North Carolina State in the play-in game, or not play-in. I'm sorry, it's the first 4.
Mm-hmm.
The game's in Dayton.
Yep, they took down DeBonsa and BYU.
Yep. BYU in the round of 64, and then they beat Gonzaga.
Yeah,
And to get themselves into the Sweet 16. They hurt some teams' brackets this weekend. I guarantee you that.
Oh, no question.
They hurt some people's brackets.
Yeah.
I think mine was among them. I can tell you this: I did not have Texas playing this far into the tournament.
I don't think I did either. I'd have to take a look at my bracket, but I don't think I had them in the Sweet 16.
Well, the big thing here is Purdue cannot get caught thinking ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have the number 1 versus number 2 matchup on Saturday. Purdue playing the first game, wants to get themselves into that position so they can relax and watch Arizona play. I think it's Arizona, right? And so I hope they don't look past Texas, take them for granted. Because I think that's what happened a little bit with BYU. BYU hasn't been the same. They had an injury or two, and they've not been the same late in the season. Mm-hmm. Gonzaga, though, they knocked them off. And, the Zags, maybe not a typical Gonzaga year, losing the conference championship to St. Mary's and not being quite as dominant as they have been in the past. But Purdue's going to have to be ready. Texas is confident. They're playing well. And I'll tell you this, Braden Smith can't have 8 turnovers.
No, can't have that many turnovers.
Assists, 8 turnovers. He can't have a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio.
No, you can't give them the ball as many times as you dish it. Also, I feel like he needs to shoot the rock better. I mean, it's been kind of concerning lately, and as of now, they've had enough team talent around him to score enough points. But, first round they win by 20-some-ish, 30-ish, and then next round they win by 10. And then how many more rounds until you need those points from Braden Smith?
Well, he shot well and scored well in round 1, but round 2, which is recency bias, we only remember the last game he played.
No one remembers Queens.
Not good at all. Yeah, he put up numbers against Queens, but then struggled mightily against Miami and their quickness, their length, and he just and Someone brought this up to me. It might have been Rick, talking about fatigue being a factor for Purdue having to play 4 games in 4 days last week, and then, having to turn around and get prep for an opponent you weren't familiar with, and then you travel, and then you have all the press conferences, and of course Braden Smith's right in the center of all the press conferences. Then you have to play your games, and the thought, could fatigue have added up for Braden Smith? Could he be a little bit tired? And so that's a possibility. I mean, he plays a lot of minutes. Remember, I've said this before on the podcast, and for those of you that are new, point guard takes a lot out of you to be a point guard, because number one, the quickest guy on the other team is probably the defender on you. And so you've always got the other team's quickest guy that's hounding you and chasing you around. You've got to be able to protect the basketball on the bounce, pass, get the ball back. You're always passing, cutting, coming off screens, a lot of physical play there. And John Conchar used to tell me that when they moved him from the 4 to the 3 and then eventually to the point guard, how much more tiring it was to play point guard. He said it just gasses you, because just the act of dribbling, the number of times you're bouncing the ball as opposed to standing or cutting is draining energy. And so for a guy like Braden Smith, who is very ball centric, I mean, he's got the ball in his hands a lot in that Purdue offense. It may wear on him a bit. And where you usually see it with fatigue is you don't see guys that aren't playing as hard, and you don't see guys that aren't playing active with a lot of energy. But what you do see is 3-point shots that front rim, or free throws that come up short. I think Braden Smith had a couple of those in the game Sunday. And the other area you see fatigue is turnovers. Sometimes that's mental fatigue, sometimes it's physical fatigue, but you're just not quite as sharp with the basketball, and it creates turnovers. And so I don't think I'd be overly concerned. I mean, the Boilermakers have a 4-year sample of what Braden Smith can do, and he's not necessarily been a guy who's built a reputation of being bad with the basketball. He just was careless with it on Sunday, and he's got to be better. If the Boilermakers are going to get through this weekend, in fact, even get through the next game, they can't have Braden Smith turning the ball over 8 times. I mean, that's a significant number for an entire basketball team, let alone one player. So, but you know what the Boilermakers did have? They had Fletcher Lawyer. Wow.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is they're going to need those kind of games from him too as they continue to move on. But like to see that, and hope to see more of it as we get to Sweet 16 and hopefully further on for that. But great game for Fort Wayne guy.
How much does this matter? What kind of point spread is it worth? Having guys that have played 4 years together, having 3 seniors that are your nucleus, that are your core, that realize this is their last run at leaving their legacy. And they don't want their legacy to be an early exit from the tournament. They've got the tournament experience. They've got the chemistry of playing together. They've got the legacy that this is what people will remember this class for, whatever they do this year. They've not won a national championship. They did have a runner-up finish. But, this is the final countdown for Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Trey Kaufman-Renn. Is that worth points? Does that earn? Because it looked like Fletcher Lawyer came out with this look in his eyes that we're not getting beat. I am going to beat you. And from the beginning, he had shot after shot after shot. He ended up with 24 points on 7 field goal attempts. 24 points on 7 field goal attempts. I mean, that's off the chart efficiency. And I just wonder, now Purdue's had their ups and downs, and I think there were some great points made in a couple of the national shows that I listened to or watched where they talked about Purdue going through a stretch of boredom. And we've talked about it before on this show, that sometimes when you have a lot of success, I think we've seen it with the Dodgers during stretches. I think we've seen it, back in the day with teams like the Lakers or, some teams that you just expect to cruise through the season. But there are periods where they just aren't as focused and energized. They feel tired because it's a long season, and they realize it's all about what you do in tournament play. Whether that in the NBA is the playoffs or in college basketball, it's the tournament. But for Purdue, a perennial tournament team with the same nucleus of guys that have been there every year, you've got to think there are some regular season games when you're playing Rutgers or Northwestern or, and no disrespect to those guys, but, it's not Arizona. It's not for a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8. It's not to make it to the Final Four. And so having a down period or having the highs and lows of a season, maybe we can write that off and move past it. Because when it was serious and this group of seniors knew there was something to come together for, they flipped a switch. They were great at the Big Ten tournament. They've been really solid their first two games in this tournament. What does it mean to have those factors on their side?
Well, I mean, it's huge, honestly. I don't know how many points it would be in a spread, but just the continuity in today's, new look of college basketball in the NIL era. I saw a graphic on Twitter earlier that showed, where all of these teams in the Sweet 16s, players first started out at. And most of them, it was a complete cornucopia of different schools and different players coming in from different parts of the country to play for Texas and other schools like that this year. So I think the continuity and the fact that they've already played together for so long, I mean, if I had to put a number about it on the spread, I would say it's worth at least maybe, 2-3 points in a spread.
Give us your thoughts. You can leave a comment. Also, make sure you give us that thumbs up, and you always click the subscribe button on YouTube because that's very important to our algorithm. It does not cost anything. It is totally free to subscribe to this channel. We don't charge you to watch videos. We don't hit you with excess fees or extra charges. All you've got to do is just say, hey, it's a channel I want to keep up with. And so you go ahead and you click subscribe. That's not that difficult. Help us
Simple.
out, right?
Exactly.
Just talked to somebody today, by the way, big fan. Said he's been listening to the show for years on radio, been following now on YouTube, and really very complimentary. And I appreciate the fact that he said he said you always have a more knowledgeable perspective, especially when it comes to our area teams, than those national people do. I appreciate your insights. So thank you.
Yeah, that means a lot. That's fantastic.
That's why we do what we do. We try to make you a smarter fan, and we try to share something that you don't already know. All right, so the tournament, I don't know if you had a chance to catch Iowa and Florida.
That was a fantastic game, yeah.
Great game. Unbelievable finish. I would say Florida's coach should get fired, but he's only a year removed from winning the national championship, so that won't happen. But
No.
that was, I don't know what they were doing for the final play. I mean, you've got a 2-point lead. They've got to go the length of the court in like 4 seconds. Now, you might pick them up 3/4 court. You might interfere or get a guy to get rid of a ball. But the only thing by going an all-out press is you give up space that if you're beat, now you give up numbers. And if you give up numbers, you not only have a chance to have overtime, you've got a chance to lose the game because the way teams run 3-on-2s now, somebody's flaring to the corner. And Fulgaris goes to the corner. familiar with him, talking about personnel that you're familiar with. Last year, he was leading Robert Morris to a Horizon League championship. Um, and there he is hitting the game-winning three-pointer from the corner.
Yeah, I mean, he was wide open. He was ready. He was ready to knock it down, and then it was just over. I didn't like Florida players on their last possession. I thought he should have gone up with it instead of trying to dish it to the other guy in the paint, where it allowed things to get kind of mixed up there at the end. So they didn't even get a shot off with their 4 seconds or so left. And then it went to Iowa. So I think that there's just a little bit of out coaching there by Ben versus Todd Golden there.
Here's the only thing that could bail out Todd Golden. And a lot of coaches would not come out in the public and say, well, here's what I told my guys, because then you're throwing your players under the bus. But they may have wanted to press, and I'm not opposed to a press, but a press can be defined multiple ways. One is an overplay where you try to deny the inbound. The other is just to provide some interference to slow a guy down. That's the press they should have had on. The press where you make them inbound it deep in the backcourt. So, like from the foul line to half court, that's the no man land. That's where you do not let them get an inbound with momentum in that part of the court. So you push them toward the backcourt, toward the back baseline. Make them catch it so they have no momentum and they still only have 4.4 seconds or whatever it was to get the other direction. You can't overplay and give a guy a chance to get a running start heading the other direction. We saw how that turns out. But I think the way you play that is if you're in that position, force the deep entry pass so they've got to go a full 90 feet once the ball's inbounded, and then maybe try to double or trap near half court where it becomes a very difficult pass to send it all the way to the corner because your defense has rotated and gotten back. But not what Florida did. They basically said, we're going to give you a shot to win the game and good luck.
Yeah, I mean, and we've seen, like you said, that down court momentum is what proves to be huge for a lot of these teams in the final seconds, and being able to get some of the defenders off of their points and then open up another offensive player, especially in the corners, like you said too. So it just was a great play call, and Florida did not defend it correctly. So good for Iowa though. And then this sets up what people are calling, the matchup of the corn, the war of the corn here between Nebraska and Iowa. So that'll be a fantastic Sweet 16 matchup. I know the crowd's going to be crazy there.
Yeah, it's a game that if it was on during the regular season, no one would watch. But because it's part of March Madness, everybody will be intrigued to see the all Big Ten matchup, the two neighboring states. It would be like Indiana versus Kentucky, but unfortunately, neither one of those teams is still in the tournament, and Indiana never was.
Can't lose in the Sweet 16 if you don't make the tournament.
Can't lose in the tournament if you don't get invited.
We got a good comment. They said, this is Nick. They said, this just proves that the SEC is highly overrated and the Big Ten is underrated.
We'll see. I think the real evaluation comes at the Final Four. I think that's where we're going to see who's the contender, who's the pretender. How many Big Ten teams? Michigan State sneak through. Can they get past Duke? Can Michigan make it? Purdue, Illinois. You've got a bunch of teams that are going to be competing for it. How many of them actually make it to the Final Four? That's when we can start to talk about the Big Ten being the dominant conference in college basketball. But I do think this was not a great year for the SEC, and that's coming out and being proven. Although Tennessee, but Vanderbilt went down. Vanderbilt was one of the hottest teams in the SEC. Florida, they go down. Kentucky, done. So not a good year for the SEC overall.
No. But yeah,
Um,
it's kind of funny that two Indiana schools have also not SEC related, but Miami. They've ended Miami's season in both college football and college basketball. Indiana with football and Purdue with basketball.
yeah, I told my wife, I said, by the way, we've got another matchup of Indiana school versus Miami.
Yep.
She didn't care at all. Didn't care at all.
Oh, oh, come on.
Apparently, Miami. The problem is, the Hurricanes football is a fairly significant deal down there,
Hmm.
but Miami basketball pales in comparison to the Miami Heat, and so you just
Yeah.
don't get the same level of coverage or interest.
I believe it, but still good for Purdue to move on.
And you know what people in South Florida are paying attention to this time of year? Panthers, baby, Panthers, all hockey.
How they doing this year? How's it
They
looking?
might
I
not
haven't.
make the playoffs. That's
Oh no.
yeah. I mean, they had injuries. They had
Hmm.
really key injuries through most of the season, but they're going to have to fight to get a spot in the playoffs.
All right, come on, Panthers.
But all they need to do is make it in and give them a chance. Hey, by the way, too, did you see what happened with St. John's?
Oh man, the layup to win it by Darling. He becomes the
Yeah,
darling of St. John's.
darling of the tournament.
Yeah, man.
Um, First of all, I
Yeah.
was not disappointed at all to see Kansas go down.
No, I wasn't mad.
Not
I
my
don't.
favorite program. Bill Self, not my favorite guy, especially after the whole financial scandals and stuff that went on. Um, I honestly, I think he might retire. I think this may have been the last run with
It's
the health
possible.
issues, with all the scandals and stuff that he's had to deal with. And the thing is, um, think about this. He went through a career where he was cheating. I think it's pretty evident that there was cheating going on in Kansas, right?
Yeah, under the
Um,
table.
yeah, and so he was doing something no one else was doing, which gave him a distinct advantage. Now everybody can do it, right? So he doesn't have that advantage anymore. Now he's actually got a coach. Now he's actually got to recruit and get kids based on the merits of Kansas basketball. And maybe that's just too much work and brings on too much stress. And he dealt with the heart issue before the season. And I honestly think that he may decide it's time to be an analyst. It's time to move in like Jay Wright.
Hmm.
I don't know what Bill Self's age is, but I think he's like 65, 66 years old. He's older than he looks. Um, Somebody look that up for me, Adam. You're good
I'm
at
on it.
that. You're
Yep.
good at that research stuff. But I think he may decide to call it a career just based on some of the things he's saying and the way he's responding to the question. Um, and also a very poorly kept secret was that Jared Calhoun, the coach of Utah State, has already been it's been announced by multiple outlets that he's going to be the next coach at Cincinnati. I don't know if Cincinnati's actually announced it, but I know it's been reported
Hmm.
that Jared Calhoun is back in Ohio, the former Youngstown State coach. I know Koff and him have been buddies, but he did a great job at Utah State after leaving Youngstown State and earned the opportunity at Cincinnati. And so that was word that came out today. What did you
Yeah.
find out? Bill Self, how old?
63.
Oh, okay. Not quite as old as I thought, but still, Jay Wright was what, 60, 59, 60?
I
Um,
mean, if he wants to retire, he can. It's not age based necessarily. It's more just
I
about
don't
how
think
you're
he's going to
feeling.
be hurt. He's
No.
made pretty good cash.
And if he really wants to keep working, he can find a media job, like you
Oh,
said.
yeah,
So
most definitely. But I would not be surprised. But
no.
St. John's wins it. That was a lousy, lousy job defensively on that final possession. Number
Yeah.
one, you've got to be able to take away penetration. You can't give the guy his strong hand. And if you're going to lock down on the corner shooter, then you've got to be able to force the ball handler, the point guard to cross over and work toward the middle of the court, not get the edge on the down the lane. He got the edge, used his shoulder to bump and get a little space, and then just flipped it up there off the glass. Not the most difficult shot, but a tough shot given the circumstances. And so a big win for St. John's. But that was a game with the two coaches. I had no favorite. I mean,
No, Bettino versus Self. You didn't find yourself rooting for either particularly.
No, the only one would be if you could add Kelvin Sampson into the mix, and then you'd have the perfect trifecta.
No, but that was fun, and I'm glad a lot of these games have been coming down to the wire.
Most of the top teams have advanced. Check your bracket because if you've got the 1s and 2s advancing, you're probably in pretty good shape with Duke, UConn, Michigan State, Arizona, Michigan, Iowa State, Purdue, Houston, and Illinois all moving on. I think the only one that got beat was Florida.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a hugely chalked tournament. But just going back to Kansas real quick, am I the only one that's saying if I'm the Indiana Pacers and I have a favorable draft pick, do not take Darren Peterson? I haven't been impressed with his game whatsoever. I mean, every time I see him, he just looks like lackadaisical. I'm just going to put up as many shots as possible. I'm the offense. If some go in, that's fine. If some don't, that's fine.
I'm here to collect my NIL until next year's NBA draft.
Exactly. I mean, I just saw nothing that looked like actual effort. It just looked like a guy trying to get his the entire time I've seen him play.
Real commitment to the team at all.
No. And I mean, I'm sure that can change when you make it to the NBA, but I just haven't been impressed with his motor and his effort and his overall demeanor.
That is the NBA, Adam. I hate to admit it, but that is the NBA. He's playing NBA basketball at the college level, and it really stands out. Which is, I play defense when I want to play defense. I'm going to get my shots up. That's the NBA.
So maybe he is ready for the NBA. Maybe the Pacers should take him. But if I'm the Pacers, I don't want him. That's me personally. If I have a favorable draft pick, I'm going after DeBonsa or Boozer.
Love Boozer.
He's look good.
Would love Boozer. Yeah.
I think both would fit what they're going to be trying to do next season. But yeah, they both seem like they actually have some character, so that's good too.
Yeah, and they have to also prepare down the road for the departure of Siakam. So eventually, they're going to have to shift some dollars, and things are going to change. And I don't know, Siakam will have a couple years still left.
But not forever.
No. All right. Hey, I don't know if you've kept up on the brackets, but I want to get this out. Our bracket contest, which a number of people have entered. If you're watching this right now and you've entered our bracket contest and you're feeling pretty good about your bracket, make sure you've subscribed to the channel. And it also helps if you give us a thumbs up and like the channel or like this video or comment. But you do need to be a subscriber to be able to claim the prize, 2 tickets to a Tin Caps game, front row seats on a late April weekend. So hopefully it's comfortable. It's not too hot. Hopefully it's not too cold.
It's a dice roll right now.
Late in April as I could. So I think it's the last Friday, I believe, in April.
Hopefully,
2
yeah, by
front row
then.
seats right by the on-deck circle. Can't get much better than that. I mean, if I was buying them for myself, that's where I would buy. Yeah, I mean, front row, right at the on-deck circle. You could talk to the players, whatever. So
whatever you want, yeah.
Yeah. The cool thing about being down there where the seats are is you can hear interactions between players. You can hear interactions between umpires and coaches. I mean, you're right there. Observing it all. So good luck if you on your bracket. By the way, I want to check real quick and see how everybody is doing on the tournament challenge. Okay, so Adam, you are beating me.
Yes, I am.
One of the downfalls of not having this show yesterday.
I'm tied for 4th right now, so there
And
are
I
a
was
couple listeners
still
ahead. Yeah.
when I was still ahead of you. Then by last night we were tied, and I woke up this morning and you're ahead.
Yep.
I haven't followed the exact picks to figure out. Did you take any kind of crazy pick? Did you take St. John's?
I don't think so. I'd have to look at my bracket. I'm pulling it up now here, but yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to share what bracket is yours so people know if they're going up against you and you are the champion that you are not eligible?
I'm the big beautiful bracket. It's gonna be huge. It's the best bracket ever. It's the best bracket of all time.
Very attractive.
We're gonna decorate it. No, I'm the big beautiful bracket in the group there. If you want to get a kick out of that, hey, I just seen a couple people that we know have actually passed you as well. Ross, who has been at the bottom of the group for a long time, is now ahead of you, Brett, as well as John Nolan.
Wait a minute. Who invited you on the show tonight? I was
You did,
not,
my friend.
you know, there were certain things I was going to share. There were certain things I was not.
Hey,
and I actually am getting my fair punishment because I was making fun of Ross's picks the first couple of days because he was in last place.
For what it's worth, you three are actually tied for 7th there with your point numbers. So you're technically not behind those two, but they're right up there with
bad,
you.
I'm equally as bad. But we're in the upper half.
Oh yeah, no, we know ball. We're ball numbers over here.
We actually are tied with who? John Nolan.
Mr. Nolan.
So you've got Ross the intern, John, and me. Of course, that's one of my 2 brackets.
I only have one in there.
I could not do just one bracket. For years I've shot my mouth off about multiple brackets. That's the way I play. That's the way I roll, man. And I did 3 brackets. 2 of them I entered into the contest. And my 3rd bracket, I didn't enter in the contest because it was the one where I picked all the upsets. You know, just had fun with it. Just said, okay, if High Point makes it to the Final 4, I'm there. You know, that kind of a bracket. And so it's horrible. But the other 2 brackets aren't. They're legitimate brackets that I tried to pick winners. And my Brett Rump pick 2 is a little ahead of Brett Rump pick 1. 1 was the first bracket I filled out. So I've got 2 brackets. One is right now in tied for 7th place. One is tied for 10th. And we've got 24 entries.
Things will get narrowed down here as we continue to play next weekend, and we'll see who's going to get that.
I want to know, Keith, where Keith is. Because Keith.
Where you at?
Keith M., I don't know who you are, but you've got the unique distinction of having the 2 worst brackets. He entered 2 brackets, and they are the 2 worst brackets in the entire field.
Yes, they are.
To be consistent, Keith.
Yeah, one of them, it looks like he had Florida winning it all, too, so that's not going to get him any extra points going forward.
And this final note, Blitz might want to stick to football.
Stick to football. You can do your, I don't know, high school bracket there. High school football bracket.
Blitz, although Blitz did pick Arizona, so
yeah, there's still chance.
The people that took Florida, trouble.
Lot less hope for the Florida pickers. Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
I like my Michigan pick though.
It's time for portal season.
I saw one. I mean, there's more than that, but I saw one.
One person in the portal?
Yeah, the leading scorer out of Robert Morris. So it's going to be another Robert
Player
Morris
of the year
transfer
in the Horizon League.
Yep, another Robert Morris transfer after they do pretty well in the Horizon League.
To Robert Morris.
Yeah. So
he was
one and done there.
IU Indy, transferred to Robert Morris, played his sophomore year, became Player of the Year in the Horizon League, and now he is transferring. But the way it's set up right now, D1, the portal is not open. So it's only officially intent to transfer, those that have come out publicly. Here's a couple of things I want to say about the transfer portal, especially for the D1 players. Pay attention to who makes the announcement. And I pointed this out. I think it is very important to note if the agent is the one putting out the word about someone transferring. Because to me, the players should control that. The players should be the one that says, I want to go somewhere else. To me, it sends the message to the people who see the tweet or the post, whether it's Instagram, whether it's X. They're not on Facebook. Nobody is doing this on Facebook. But if the agent is the one that's speaking on their behalf, then it does look driven by money. If the player comes out, says something nice about the place that he just played, and said he wants to pursue other opportunities, that looks like maybe the player is looking for a better fit or a better opportunity for him personally from the basketball side. I don't like when the agents are the ones that are coming out and putting all this stuff out, because to me it's like, hey, get your bidding ready because I've got a player that's going to be in the portal. Just don't like it. But right now, D2, D3, those portals are open. JUCO and NAIA do not have portals. Those guys can declare that they're available. Grad transfers in D1 and enter the portal, or players in D1 who have had a coaching change at their current university. Those are the only ones that can enter the portal right now. Once you actually officially become part of the portal, then you can be contacted by coaches. So even if you've just declared that you have an intent to transfer, you're not in the portal and you should not be talking to or negotiating with coaches. If you haven't declared an intent and haven't entered the portal, coaches should be staying away. If they're not, if they're contacting you saying, hey, curious if you're going to enter the portal because we'd be real interested in a guy like you. Okay? You can't do that. It's wrong. And it's happening all over the place, especially with these agents that are slipping in. They're trying to figure out, okay, who are the teams that really want my guy? So when this portal opens, I know who to put up the bidding against who. And I mean, you know, it's very financial for a lot of agents. Now, I'm not going to say that all the agents have that intent, because I do know some guys who are representing players that do not declare themselves as an agent. They declare themselves as representative. And many of them are past coaches, or they are people who have been involved with the game where I think they understand role and fit within a certain program. And I'm fine with those guys. But I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. When you see a player and it says agent so-and-so is reporting that someone is going to be entering the portal, isn't your first thought, oh, it's probably driven by money?
Yeah, I mean that's what a lot of these transfers in general are driven by. But to not even have all this premeditative speculation, getting it out there ahead of the curve type stuff, it does just seem a little bit off the nose, and I don't like it. Yeah, I would rather just have players enter themselves when it's time to.
If players come out and say, I've enjoyed my time, but I'm seeking better opportunities. Maybe that's opportunities on the floor. Maybe that's opportunities financially. That's fine. Go ahead and say it yourself.
Yeah.
But when an agent says it, I don't trust that they're out looking for the best fit with your player's skill set, because they're not breaking down all the film of every team, trying to figure out, here's the offense they run. Here's how you'd fit into that offense. And so I think the fit is important. And I think when an agent comes out, fit all of a sudden becomes secondary. How you fit in an offense, finding a system that works very well for you and brings out the best in your talent. And, I've tweeted about this, that I think agents don't care about some of the stuff that I think players do care about. I think players do want to excel and be given the best opportunities to succeed. And so I would just make the recommendation to players to post yourself. You don't have to have somebody else, but post yourself. You've enjoyed your time at the university. It's time to move forward. Um, and we can all respect that because that is the world we now live in. That is the business opportunities you've been afforded. I envy some of you because you're doing well, but the point is there is a lot of public resentment to the amount of money these guys are making. Try to keep money as far away from your name as possible.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's just focus on the basketball, Focus on
Now,
what's going to get you the best in your career, not the most money.
for clarity, CJ has announced his intent to be entering the portal. You cannot keep a guy like CJ Hadnot. The mid-majors are a development league, and when you get a player to a certain level and he can excel at the next level, which is power conference teams, it's hard to keep them down. There was a post today on X showing everybody's NIL fund that's in the Sweet 16. And I think they start at about $7 million and go up from there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the math. If you're an average guy on one of those rosters, you're $500,000 to $750,000 a year. I can just tell you, mid-majors, that's more than they've got for the program, considerably. And so you can't, you get a guy developed to a certain point. You have to shake his hand, thank him for the effort that he put in for a mid-major, and let him go and hope that he tips on his way out the door. Tip the radio guy. But no, seriously, that's going to happen. And CJ Hadnot's earned it. The guy has been a beast, doing extra work in the gym, extra work in the weight room. You feel good about a guy that gets that opportunity. It's almost like when a guy goes pro.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave you 3 years. He didn't come in one and done and think that the grass was always greener. He committed 3 full years to the program, and that's all you can ask of a guy. But there was also DeAndre Craig had been posted that he was going to that he was intending to transfer. That is false. He is staying with Purdue Fort Wayne. And I think that's all been corrected. I went through some of the boards and I saw that his name has been taken off now.
That's good.
But no other news on any of the other Mastodons, but we're still, a week away or so from the portal. So we'll see what happens as we get closer. I would expect there'll be some names, but I have no idea. I've not talked to anyone. I've not gotten any feedback. I don't know. But generally, you're going to always expect some attrition on every roster. Rarely does every player come back. So now, what do the Mastodons need? In my mind, they need length at the wing, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7" type wing players. They really didn't have those type of options to put a 6'5" guy on the floor, a 6'7" guy on the floor. It was 6'3", 6'2", 6'1", 6 foot, 6 foot. Those were the guards. I think you've got to have some guards, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7". And so they'll try to find those guys. They'll try to find the shooters because you have to replace Max Nelson, arguably your best three-point shooter, and CJ Hadnot, who developed a pretty good three-point shot. And so you've got some shooting to replace. But I think, they'll find guys because this system is going to reward guys, especially those that can hit the corner three, that are 6'8", 6'9", that can be a rebounder. And that's the other thing is find the balance between a guy that can hit the corner three and a guy that can go down low and bang with the biggest and the best of them in the Horizon League. You're going to have to find those guys. It's a challenge, but you've got to find them somehow, and you've got to afford them. And so hopefully all the Mastodons fans or those that just want to support local basketball, maybe they can be helpful in the NIL or find out how they can get involved because That's where it's at right now. What do you have in your NIL fund, and who can you
Yeah.
get in out of the transfer portal?
Yeah, did you see Cronin after UCLA lost last night? They say, "What do you need to improve your team?" And he said about $5 million, about $5 million more dollars, and I think we'd be good. But yeah, I mean, it's where we are at in college basketball these days. And like you said with CJ, I mean, the talent level at this point has just surpassed the current league, and he does deserve to explore those next levels. But we'll see what happens with the rest of the Purdue Fort Wayne men's squad, women's squad in action tomorrow.
That was one of the things I've got on my list.
There we go. Look at us.
Women, once again, invited to the WNIT. And not only, and this is where they've earned respect because of the quality of program that they've had the last 3 years. They've been successful in the WNIT. They've won games each of the last 2 years. They made the top 16 1 year. Then they made the top grade 8.
Yes, the grade 8
they call it. They made that last year. And and they've done a nice job hosting games, getting good crowds. And so they will be hosting the WNIT tomorrow night at the Gates Center against South Alabama. 7 o'clock tip. Tickets are available. I'm sure you can get them at the door. It's not going to sell out, but it's always fun to see postseason basketball. The tough thing is I'm trying to remember now who was on this team this year. It's been so long since they played. When they take the court tomorrow night, it will have been, 2 full weeks? Or is it 3?
It's I don't know. I've lost track of time, man. But it's been a while.
It's over 2 weeks since they played the 2 weeks ago today was their last game. So it's over 2 full weeks since they played their last game. But they've kept themselves sharp. They had a little bit of a break to enjoy spring break, and then they came back. They immediately got right back to it. Last couple of days, they've been preparing because South Alabama beat Alcorn State on Saturday, and so they knew their opponent, and the game was officially scheduled for Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. Once again, if you're joining us right now, make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, give us that big thumbs up. Always appreciate you. I want to end, Adam. It's downtown arena time again. The subject came up. It actually came up because I brought it up.
Call me shocked.
I'm tired of driving all over the state of Indiana to go to high school basketball games. 8.5 hours of travel to do a sectional, regional, and semi-state. 8.5 hours. I mean, the sectional was in Huntington, not even in Fort Wayne, not even in Allen County. The regional, a 3A and a 4A team from Fort Wayne. And in fact, a 3A and a 4A team that is located like 4 minutes apart.
Yeah.
And we go 1 hour and 48 minutes to Newcastle. And nothing against Newcastle. It was great to be able to go down and experience a game. But for an average fan, the guy who maybe goes to a high school game once in a while or enjoys spending a day watching good high school basketball, there's a lot of people in Fort Wayne that are being cheated out of seeing good basketball in the postseason because you can't go 2 hours to go see a game.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a loyal fan of one of the teams. You just would go if it was convenient. If it was somewhere local and you could go watch a local team, it'd be fun to go check it out. We don't have that. Fort Wayne fans are cheated because we don't have a place to play. I know somebody said, the IHSA decided not to play any of the games in non-high school venues. That's probably a financial decision, and if it could be worked out that the finances were covered or, there was a deal made with an arena, maybe that would be different. But, I mean, why would the IHSA not want to play in a beautiful downtown arena that holds 5,000 people, that has suites that they could provide to their IHSA administrators, et cetera, that they could use for hospitality rooms to be able to feed the media, because the media gets a little testy if they're not getting fed. But We need that. I mean, first of all, the Mastodons, they need to have an arena that's a mid-major arena. That's a crown jewel of mid-major basketball. This city is big enough that they should have that. They should have a 4 to 5,000 seat arena with suites, with, great seating that they can use to help build the fan base and build boosters. At the Coliseum, nothing against the Coliseum. It's a great venue if you're putting 11,000 people in it. But if you're putting 12 to 1,500, maybe up to 2,000, people are spread out too far from the floor. And I use the example a lot of the arena up at Oakland, where it's not the biggest place. From the outside, you don't even realize it's an arena. I mean, it just looks like a regular little building. But when you go in, it's got like 12 rows of seats all the way around in a rectangle, right around the court. It gets loud. The fans are right on top of you. Everybody's got a good seat because they're all within 12 rows of the playing surface. It's fantastic. That's the way mid-major college basketball should be. You should be bringing the D1 experience to fans who pay a much lower price and get much closer to the action than they would if they were to go to Assembly Hall, where they need binoculars if they're in the upper level. So we need it.
You'll get a field house.
Has a nice ring to it.
You'll get a field house and you'll like it, Brett. You'll get a field house for AAU tournaments and you'll like it.
We'll get teams from Missouri that come in wearing T-shirts with taped on numbers for a weekend of basketball, and I'll like it.
And they're going to build a new hotel, and that's going to be all the business from all the tournaments coming in. But no, it would be really nice to have that sort of arena downtown. It would be a great compliment, I think, to Parkview Field when the Tin Caps aren't in action. I think, having that indoor versus outdoor, it would be a great complementary thing. You've got a yin-yang of arenas down there. That would be fantastic.
Well, and people, the first thing is, we've got an arena. We've got, venues that would be hurt. Nobody's going to get hurt. The demand for venues on a Saturday night is great enough that you can put multiple events in this city and put one at the embassy, put one at the Coliseum, put one at a downtown arena. Nobody is making a sacrifice. There are artists, there are sports events that want that 3,000 to 5,000 range of seats. There would be plenty of things for people to do.
No question.
And a city our size, it is almost laughable that we do not have a gymnasium or arena that can host IHSAA events. Ridiculous. I mean,
would be nice.
They require, I think, about 4,400. It might be a little more than that for semi-state.
Just do a 5,000 seat arena, 5,500.
You got to go to the old gyms that were built back in the heyday of the 70s or 60s, and you find one in Elkhart, you find one. Huntington has one. Muncie, they hosted this week, and of course they just renovated the field house where it had the damage, and they just renovated it. Newcastle, of course, the Newcastle field house. There just aren't that many places that fit what the IHSA needs. Around Indianapolis, you have a lot more. You have Seymour, you have Southport, you have multiple places that you can go to down there that can hold 4,000, 5,000 people. But up here, for some reason, they just didn't make the gyms that big. Wayne and Northrop are like 2,800. Carroll is the biggest. I think it's about 3,400. Homestead, for some reason, why they didn't build their gym with the thought of hosting events. Maybe they didn't want to host. Maybe that's part of it. But they built a beautiful arena with all the amenities. But to me, they didn't put enough seats. 2,800 seats. They should have had 4,000, 4,200. And then they could maybe be a host for some of these events and save their team the travel. But, oh well.
Yeah, you just have to keep vying for that downtown arena, man. Keep that committee up and running.
Certainly needed. All right, everybody enjoy the game tomorrow.
Yep.
Mastodons versus South Alabama, WNIT at the Gate Center. Hope everybody makes it to that game. Oh, and we'll end with this. Saturday, 6 p.m., Indianapolis, Indiana. Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Class 3A state championship game. The New Haven Bulldogs taking on the Indianapolis Cathedral Fighting Irish.
Let's go. Tune in. But repping New Haven here. I'm coming to you live from New Haven, Indiana right now. So let's go
That's
Bulldogs,
right.
man. Yeah.
New Haven resident.
Yes, sir.
Adam Lundy.
Yes, sir. Like less than 5 minutes from the high school. So yeah, let's go Bulldogs.
So yeah, we'll be there with the broadcast coming up this Saturday. Hope everybody tunes in. Yeah, unfortunately, I was 0 for 2 on Saturday up at Elkhart.
Yeah, that was a tough semi-state there. Two very good opponents for both Snyder and Homestead.
Northridge and Crown Point, a couple of one-loss teams. And by the way, Crown Point took care of Northridge. Crown Point, I think, would have had a heck of a game against Fishers. That's how good they are, because they've got like a Purdue. They've got experience. They've got chemistry because they played together for 3 years. They've played in the semi-state 3 consecutive seasons. Now they get their chance at a state championship. Crown Point is taking on Mount Vernon with Luke Ertl, future
There you go.
Purdue Boilermaker.
Yeah, he's been good too in the tournament, so that'll be a good matchup.
He's been lighting it up, playing really well. So that'll be a good 4A game. We're not broadcasting that one, but we will have the 3A, New Haven versus Indy Cathedral. Tune in. I'll be down there with the call coming up this Saturday. All right, sir. We will let you go. Don't forget to follow our tournament bracket. Make sure you give us the subscribe. Make sure you give us thumbs up and like. Any comments you want to leave on our videos, we appreciate you. And we'll talk to you next time.